What's going on, everyone? Today we're going to talk about our favorite rigs of 2019 and kind of how the year's wrapping up as far as video releases go.
Oh, hey, what's up, Josh? What are you doing in your own studio?
John Holmes, everybody.
Hi. You mind if I sit down?
Have a seat. Let's do this.
Oh, thanks for having me today.
John, if you guys don't know who John Holmes is, owner of Holmes Hobbies, John and I have actually been friends for 10 years?
12.
12?
I think about 12. What, 2007?
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. A while.
I used to live in Kansas City, Missouri. John is based out of Missouri as well. He was only a couple hours from me, so as geography would, lend itself to, we got together in this crazy hobby and have been friends for a long time and learned a lot from him.
Back when we used to actually build our rigs.
Yes.
Uphill, both directions.
In the snow. But speaking of that, now we've got all kinds of options that you can just buy and go play on the rocks. We're going to go through all of those, or our favorites at least, and just kind of talk about how things have changed, what we like, and what maybe we'll see coming.
Yeah, there really is a lot of rigs available on the market today, almost to a degree that there are too many choices in some cases, but they're all really good for the most part, and that's, I think, a pretty good topic to talk about.
Yeah, so I think at this point we can kind of say that the 1.9 market is the dominating market.
For sure.
And that's where most of the options are, and that's where most of your money is going to be best spent as far as how things have progressed with durability and option parts and tuning ability, just capability of the trucks themselves.
Now, would you say that maybe the 2.2s were a little bit, maybe too much performance, or,
a lot of people had always referred to training wheels on 2.2s, and that was meaning, that they were too capable and things like that. And I think that was part of it. A lot of people don't have the terrain. I know in Missouri we fought for terrain a lot of times. Out here in California, you can just go hit harder lines if you wanted, because they're everywhere. I also think that 2.2s with a lot of power are harder on parts and can also be more expensive to build, therefore. And I think that's part of it. And I also don't think that there was the platform options that were leading in the way that were going to be the most popular. An SCX-10 style, which was kind of on its own at the time. You could put different bodies on it, make it look however you wanted. Where a Wraith or a Yeti or, even a Bomber, they just they look what they look like.
Yeah,
you can
stuck with them.
You can kind of dress them up a little bit, but it's just kind of what they are. They didn't have that ability to personalize as much.
Yeah.
I think that's what leads us into having so many of these choices that we have now.
Yeah, I can definitely say that in Missouri, the 2.2s were almost too capable. And back when we were running competitions all the time, we had to force ourselves to have lines that were difficult and, would keep our interest for long periods of time. And a lot of guys would end up putting 1.9 on their 2.2 rigs when they would go out and trail run. And I think that's a lot of the reason why Axial started out with the SCX-10, having the 1.9s on there, and also maybe the scale factor. It scales a little bit better, I feel, to have 1.9 rigs, even with the larger size of tires, but those 1.9 rims just look pretty scale. And, maybe that's what they were going for originally.
Yeah, and I think, that was the Axial AX10 was released in 2007, I believe. And it was a 2.2 competition style, or very, it was at least competition style.
Trying to be. We would just take the axles anyway and scrap the
and
rest
then make the rest of it into into something else. But
back in my day.
But then we had taken, and I had even designed a chassis that was extremely popular back in the day called the X-Trail chassis for TCS.
Yeah,
and
you designed that?
I did.
Yeah.
And we turned that into a scale truck with a flat rail chassis. Back when flat rails were acceptable.
Yeah.
Get a C channel, guys.
I'm personally fine with flat plate chassis, but Josh really likes his C rails.
So, we took that and we turned it into a scale truck, put smaller tires on it, and a body of our choosing from the 3 bodies that were available at the time.
Yeah.
You'd have the Jeep Rubicon from HPI, the Bronco from HPI. Is that it? There were some random truck bodies for, monster trucks at the time.
Yeah, occasionally you would find an old Hilux body or something like that.
Yeah, an actual bruiser body from the day. Those were the guys that were serious.
Right.
Because
they made a lot of their own parts.
Bruisers were expensive still, you know.
Yeah, hacking up a bruiser for the body was,
sacrilege.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
You're ruining the value of your body.
Clawed bodies. Those were, you'd see those.
I still have one of my original ones. I should probably get it back out and beat it up on the rocks some more.
Yeah, that's, I'm just starting to dabble into hard bodies more. I've owned a couple, never really wasn't my thing, but we're gonna cross that bridge again.
They're a little heavy. I mean, and of course we kind of came into this when we were pushing for performance all the time. And now it's to a degree that you almost have to pull back a little bit. So you're able to have fun, go out and find some hard lines without, having a 12-inch vertical climb.
Right. Because our performance that we were shooting for in the day was not the performance that we were even at.
Even the ready-to-run rigs today are far beyond, even with 1.9 wheels, it's still far beyond what we were doing back in the day, which is great, honestly.
Right.
It's amazing.
And then we had official releases like the original SCX-10, and now we've got the SCX-10 II, which has been a staple and been around for a long time and probably the most well aftermarket supported of the vehicles available today, which therefore still makes it a very popular truck. Lots of different body options and things like that. However, it was released in 2016, so it's not the new kid on the block anymore.
Wow, 3 years already.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So it's not the new kid on the block, so sometimes that then takes away some cool points, but it's still a very viable truck with what a ton of options are based on. You can kind of create anything you want based on even maybe trucks that you would build not off of an SCX-10 II. You're probably using some parts that were initially intended for.
I do know that the skid plate, the bolt pattern for the skid plate has been reused by quite a few companies at this point.
Yes.
Both aftermarket chassis makers and completely new vehicles. I believe the Element is actually compatible.
The Element was compatible. The VS4-10 chassis will accept a standard bolt pattern style from the side of a SCX-10. And that's original SCX-10 even. And then it moved to SCX-10 II, and now it's found its way.
And I think AX-10 as well.
AX-10 was different.
Was it different?
I believe AX-10 actually was different.
Yeah.
It was definitely wider and a bunch of...
That's true. That's true. It's been a long time, guys. Sorry. Long time.
And then even the Wraith 1.9, which I really actually like. It uses the same SCX-10 II style center skid plate. The geometry, as far as the skid plate and link geometry is the same. The axles are the same as an SCX-10 II. And I think that Wraith 1.9 is still a really good choice if you're looking for something today.
Yeah.
It is, as well as an SCX-10 II, and it is, like you said, still popular, just not the new kid. But the Wraith 1.9 was a lot of fun. I haven't driven mine in a while.
Same here. I do like driving it, especially if I want a little bit of wheel speed. It kind of bumps over objects better than most of my other rigs.
Yeah, there was a lot. I had made some changes to mine, and I put a different power system in it that I don't enjoy, and I haven't taken out and put something back in. And
Maybe I can help you out with that.
that was a subtle hand. No, but that was mainly the reason I haven't driven. So I need to get back to that one because that is a really good truck.
Yeah.
And then kind of a derivative of that style of a plastic chassis with the brand new release from Axial, the Capra. And I like the truck. It's the style of truck that I like. It's a style of truck that I have other ones like. A tube chassis, portal axle, a little bit wider, 1.9 based, competition, like full-size competition looking buggy.
Yeah, We Rock, right?
Yeah, We Rock is very, that's the full-size World Extreme Rock Crawling competition.
Extreme? Yeah. They actually have Extreme in the name?
I'm pretty sure it's, but it's with an E.
Oh, okay.
That's the difference.
That's definitely a 10-year ago sort of
exactly.
thing.
I actually had taken my Capra out, shot some running video of it, and I wasn't happy with driving the Capra as it was.
Too capable?
No, my problem was that I had chosen things to try and have all my items here before I got the Capra. So I learned things when I built it, and I had chosen too fast of a motor. I actually have a Polar Pro in it, 2700.
Yeah, little.
And because that's normally where I would normally be with it, but the gear ratio on the Capra is higher than normal. So it's like a 30 something to 1 ratio rather than a 40 or a 50. So And then with a 2700, it's just way too fast.
Yeah, I would agree. Unless you're looking for rock racing, we found in the shop that we like about 1800 to 2200 kV range for that platform. But for any other single-speed rig, I'm right there with you. 2700 to 3300, 3500 is kind of my sweet spot.
Right.
I do like wheel speed, though. I typically will throw a 3500 in there if I want wheel speed.
And I've been going 2700 on 4S lately.
Oh, so you run 4S. I run 3S on most of my rigs.
I've always been a 4S, but now or 3S. But now I've been kind of going. I'm really liking these 4S packs, the size of them. And then wheel speed, of course.
Wheel speed.
So,
love that wheel speed.
And then it's harder on parts, all that, but
for sure. But the modern rigs are really built well. And there's very few exceptions. I should probably mention that the Gen 8 seems to have more axle problems than a lot of other rigs, both the outer shafts and also in the portal boxes. They tend to break a good bit. I do hear that they have been trying to address that, but there are limitations on the bearing sizes. There's a lot of things that they're working against. But besides that one, it seems that most rigs are really built well these days.
Yeah, and a lot of times we'll find that there's this problem with a truck. And normally it's not when you're looking at it with a reasonable amount of power.
Yeah, okay.
But when a lot of us have been doing this for so long, we have found where we my daily driver has 200 horse. But if I was used to driving something with 600 horsepower all the time, that's what I would want to have all the time.
And you'd probably think that the axles were way too weak.
Yeah, of course. So, the TRX4 is probably one of the, as far as like most, it's a very reasonably priced platform that is very strong. Yeah,
I would say out of all of my rigs, I think that the TRX4 is probably the most bomb-proof. Whenever I hand off my controller to my 7-year-old, my child, that's the one that I give them. And I have the 2-speed version as well, but even with all the extra fanciness and everything, the axles are stout, the transmission is overbuilt, and they have so much gear reduction in their axles that there's not really too much stress on the half shafts, it seems.
And other than stock servos and things like that.
The electronics are...
Stock servos are a stock servo in almost any car. Yeah. It's just, you need to change them out. The more you spend, usually the better, the more happy you're going to be. But the TRX4 is built really well in that respect. I think
but maybe a little heavy because of
a little heavy and a little top heavy, specifically with stock battery placement, things like that. We went through and did all kinds of stuff on the TRX4 to finally get it kind of where we wanted, and then I built some rigs based on those axles and things like that as of late, where I'm actually really starting to enjoy a lot of the things that they have. But and then there's probably 10 variants of the TRX4 already now.
Right.
Well, I mean, counting colors and things like that, of course.
Yeah. But I still have yet to get a single speed rig. That's the one TRX4 variant that I haven't quite gotten yet, because honestly I love the 2-speed. If I'm going to get a rig that has a bunch of buttons and everything on it, if it's going to be heavy to begin with, I'm kind of thinking, well, just go the whole 9 yards and have all that fun and get extra switches and dials and knobs.
The last guy I would think, and I won't own 2-speeds.
Hate them. Well, I was never a fan of 2-speeds, because volt up, gear down, you get a high kV motor, you can get all the wheel speed you want, 20 miles an hour on the top end, and still be able to crawl just fine. And we've already gone through this, but their gear ratio is, I think, 2.5 to 1 between first and second, so you can get a really, really slow crawl speed, and then you can have nuts on your second speed gear ratio. So I actually kind of like it for just tooling around. And last guy that I hated 2-speeds. Electric motors do not need 2-speeds, technically. Just get a bigger motor if you want more wheel speed and you still want to keep that low-end control. But it's kind of won me over, to tell you the truth. I didn't expect that either, but it's won me over that if I want to go out... It's not going to happen here. I just want to go out and play sometimes, and having extra buttons and knobs and diff lockers and everything is occasionally fun.
Dig. There's your button.
Okay. And see, when I go out, I feel if I'm not competing, that dig for me is like,
because the Capra comes with dig now, and dig has been around for...
Mine is not set up. I have it locked out with a zip tie.
There's a spacer in there. You put the spacer.
Well, I didn't want to rebuild it. I wanted to be able to throw the servo in and just cut the zip tie and go. I'm kind of lazy sometimes. I didn't even build the Capra myself, so not this time. I try to build my own rig, so it's...
I can understand that part of it. That makes sense. Lock it out with but dig's been around since forever. And it's been something that has been available to vehicles to add for a really long time. And it's just now, even channels that have a large enough following that should know what it is. are, talking about it and talking about it incorrectly even, and not knowing how it works or what the actual benefits are. It's
been around for a long time, for sure. 2006, 2007, we were either constructing it ourselves, or there was a few companies that were building them for us as well.
The first dig you could buy really was the VF dig at the time.
Yeah,
that was 2008.
What about the DNA dig?
Visionary Fab turned into DNA.
Oh, that's
turned
right.
into Billet Works.
That's right. That's right. Okay.
But VF was the first one, and that was released in March of 2008.
Yeah.
Because that was before the second Midwest Challenge.
Yep.
And Don, the
that.
owner of VF and then DNA, now Billet Works, delivered me to the day before Midwest Challenge.
Yeah.
2008. Would have been end of March.
I was there.
Yeah.
I remember seeing it. It was pretty cool. It had little, the lobes that interlocked, and everybody at the time was just using, half shafts that you would cobble together, and then you had a rod that was running through them so it wouldn't fall apart, and then you had a little slider actuated up and down. It's like, better not get into articulation and lose your rear end control. That's a mess.
This mousetrap, that you had built to try and release. It was. You could have a bolt through the drive shaft that maybe you could have that collar lock into.
Yep. There's a lot of different ways to do it.
It was fancy.
Good times.
We were high class.
Uphill both ways in the snow.
But now digs are, and if you understand how to use a dig well, it can be I run it on my trail rigs and I use it all the time.
Yeah.
And I drive one-handed with a camera most of the time, and I can still dig effectively and drive. And
you may convert me. I may have to hook mine up on the Capra.
Now, I will say that the Capra's dig suffers a little bit.
Does it?
It does not like to...
I have no experience with it.
It does not like to disengage all that well. And
do you have to let off the power a little bit?
Or almost let it relax.
Oh, okay.
So the Capra isn't necessarily the best example of how well a dig can work or how capable it can make a vehicle, but a really well working dig can be a nice thing.
And Vanquish just came out with one recently too.
Well, we've had
the last couple of years, right?
Vanquish has had the Hertz dig since 2009, maybe.
That's true. Yeah.
And then there was a V2 version of it, and now there's also one for the VFD transmission. And those are all very reliable, of course, the most reliable. There is nothing more reliable. But, biased. All right. It's dig can be a lot of fun, and I've never comped my VS4 Pro as far as like a cone dodging type comp.
Cone dodging, I like that.
Yeah.
Start calling it cone dodging now.
Yeah.
Now, on the same token, with the selectable lockers on the TRX4, I didn't think that I would really like those as well, but it's actually really useful for just trailing around if you need to unload your suspension to unlock the rear diff in particular. Just let the suspension relax, lock it back up, continue on. So I guess in the very same sense, having a dig on there with a freewheel function will do the exact same thing.
Yeah, it can help. And selectable lockers in general could be very powerful. It's very common in full size crawling, as far as specifically when added with cutting brakes and things like that, which would be awesome to have in scale. But obviously,
that was a design that Axial had a long time ago.
Axial was going to release a cutting brake, which in the
XR10,
XR10, and it never came fully to fruition. That was always a.
They had very good intentions.
It was, and there was even videos of one existing and working.
Yep. I was down at a scale challenge in Augusta in, I think it was 2007, and a guy had actually built cutting brakes into his axles. Had just cobbled it together. And of course, back then we were all building our own stuff anyway.
Right.
But I just thought that was amazing that he had managed to make some. Let's see, which axles were it?
Would it have been TXT or
the TLT? It was TLT axles, and he had cut his housings and brazed together some fiddly bits, and he had a servo that would basically cut brake one side or the other, and in the middle it was just regular lock mode. It was pretty cool, and nothing ever came of it, of course, because it was just a dude hand fabbing in his own garage. But it was cool to see back then for sure, and I'm kind of surprised that it hasn't come to the market. Specifically
with the reliability of the TRX4 one. Yep. Again, I have one TRX4 that has the 2-speed and locking diffs, but I've got 3 others. I have 3 others behind me even. I think I have one more that are all sport based. Single speed, lock diff.
Reliability.
I don't like micro servos.
Me neither. So, they would go down a rabbit hole on that one.
Yeah, but so there's just there is absolutely options there. For me, single speed, lock diff, big power, lots of voltage.
Yep.
Go run trails. Yes.
Bolt up, gear down.
And then, on that same line, we've got, or on the actually almost completely opposite line, of course, you have like the RC4 drive stuff, which is not necessarily very capable, not very durable, but looks are off the chart.
They've always been leading on the scale side.
They've got super detailed bodies. They've got interiors, forward motors that, kind of sit up in an engine area. They even have little metal V8 engines. They do, that's where they focus, and that's where they do really well. They've got some of the most scale tire. They've got some, they released some Falcons, I think, here recently that have just like the most tiny little detail lines in them. They look, if you just took a decent picture of them on a non-scale background that you couldn't tell the scale, it'd fool almost anybody.
Now, I have a few RC4WD rigs, and I will say that since I tend to run a lot of power, we haven't had great luck until we upgraded the axles on there. So upgrading the half shafts, the outers, everything, and that tends to make them pretty good. We do have a few locals that compete with them even, but they have had to upgrade those rigs pretty heavily.
And you've got to drive knowing the capabilities. They're still looking at 5x8 little bearings and gears that you have limitations on, so you have to drive within the limitations of the gear strength and things like that.
Yeah.
But for me, they're not the situation that I'm usually trying to go out to gnarly places and do either big stupid climbs or jump ledges, and
that's kind of how I drive too.
And I actually did just buy an RC4 drive, a D110 Galande, I think. Yeah, but it's 4-linked, not leaf springs.
What?
No leaf springs for me.
Oh, but it's scale, man.
Yeah, so are coilovers.
Don't you do the scale news update? Scale news update, man.
Yeah, I've plenty of memes on my phone about leaf springs that I send to my Toyota friends.
Oh, okay.
I only have one Toyota friend. I try and limit Toyota friends.
Yeah.
Jeep people.
See, I've got a 95 Toyota
I know.
Pickup. It doesn't even have leaf springs on the front. It's got the torsion springs on it and everything. Old Forerunner suspension. I think it's terrible. It handles terrible, but it's a fun rig to drive.
Yeah, good farm rig.
It's great for farm rig. I got 33s on it right now. Just put it in 4 low and let it creep through sections. It's nothing but a fun rig.
Yeah.
I would like to make it into a little rock buggy one day, but
that's another rabbit hole.
Oh man, a lot of work. Work. If I'm going to do all that, I'm probably going to make it electric. Or at least a hybrid.
Yeah.
Nothing better for performance than a few thousand pounds of batteries.
Or the wallet.
Yeah.
Nothing like putting way more batteries than the vehicle's worth.
Yeah, that was a $2,500 find for me. So putting a lot of money into it has been kind of hard to justify.
And then of course the Vanquish VS4-10 Pro, which is it's a performance based. It's built with all of the expensive, high end, high quality materials, axles, and all that type of thing. It's not a mass market type vehicle, but if it's a vehicle that you were going to buy something like a, maybe an SCX-10-2 and completely upgrade it and try to make it as, then you'd be money ahead just to buy a VS4-10 Pro.
To be fair, it is an already upgraded rig, and to be honest on there, this is the one rig that I haven't driven yet. But I am very familiar with the suspension geometry that you used and all the essentially the parts and the engineering that's used, and it's nothing out of the ordinary, of course. Y'all didn't go so far that you caused other problems trying to be unique in the market or anything.
Super low forward motor. It's offset axles you have to have offset axles to accommodate the motor position. It's right in the way of where a typical axle would be, and just kept everything low, made it as strong as possible, gave it. Then the buzzwords now are overdrive, of course.
Yes, the overdrive.
Overdrive out of the box, and then
So how much overdrive does that one come with out of the box?
Out of the box, 6.5.
Nice.
Then there's going to be options, up to like 20% max. And then of course there's still for rigs that are available now, you can put ring gears in them. If you can get, I'm not sure how much the popular ring gears. I can't remember. I think it goes from an 830 tooth in a normal SCX-10-2, which is 375 to 1, to 827, so it's probably 2.8, something 2.7, something like that.
Now, I'm not a big fan of overdrive. If I'm just trailing, I don't want too much on there. Personally, 12%, I do think is a pretty good, trail-ready percentage to hit. I kind of want to know what people in the comments like on their own personal rigs. You know, do you have overdrive in your rigs, or how much do you want on it if you're not competing? How about yourself if you're not competing?
So I'll run, you know, if a normal trail rig like the VS4 Pro 6.5, I'm good with. My current Pro, which I ran through on a video before, where I put a portal axle in the rear and then had to do all kinds of tweaking and things like that to try and get it back into reason. It's at almost 30%, which is steep and not something I would normally say for people who are trail riding.
Yeah.
But
you know, hours at a time, that does put a lot of load on the parts, a lot of load on the battery and the motor.
Right, and that's, you know, that's what I'm running. I'm actually running a 3100 kV on 4S in that.
Woo-wee.
Yeah, that
sounds fun.
It is fun.
Yeah.
It literally screams. It's going. But you know, 30% is not necessarily unheard of as far as what people run now in certain situations, or
especially
more.
competing. Yeah,
yeah, or especially competing.
Personally, if I'm going to be competing with a rig, that 30% is kind of a golden zone for me. You go too far past that, and the rig just kind of gets upset on both uphill and downhill,
or
and
side hill with even with 30%. You know.
Now, I think the roll center has a lot to do with how upset it gets on the side hills, because my rigs actually don't seem too bad on the side hills.
It depends on your terrain.
Yeah.
If you're looking at a terrain where a little wash on the tire is going to allow things to move, you know, solid granite slabs out here, anything with a little grit or, you know, not grit or but like a little powder on it, that much, you're going to be constantly pointing it uphill, trying to walk it as it goes.
Yeah. It's maybe some driving.
Yeah, you got
driver mods.
Right, exactly. Yeah, talent tank is always, always the limiting factor.
My talent tank has run dry, it seems, when it comes to driving. I just need more practice, time on the rocks.
Yeah, and that's, that was where most of what we used to do was competing, even if you were out just having fun, you were driving through cones.
Yep, absolutely.
It wasn't what we necessarily did, especially because batteries, even the early days, looking at nickel metal stuff. 20 minutes maybe. That's not a very fun trail. No. Especially if you have to carry a bunch of those things.
Those things are heavy.
Yeah.
If you don't use lithium already, you should be using lithium batteries. Yes. You really should.
There's nothing more worth it. There's nothing that's made the hobby more worth it than good battery tech.
Yeah. I would say brushless, but for the crawling realm, the brushless really, it isn't needed by any means.
No, you can have a lot of fun with a brushed motor.
Yeah. But if you want a whole lot of wheel speed, if you want to do hill climbing, if you want to do any sort of like high load type stuff, if you're going to be doing TTC events, it seems that the brushless does tend to have advantages long term. Of course, you don't have to replace brushes, you don't have to replace motors as often, but on the same token, if you get into mud, it's a more expensive motor that gets ruined as well.
Yeah, if things go bad, it can hurt the pocket.
Yeah, for sure. Well, what else have we not talked about? There's the Element Enduro, which
awesome. That kind of fits in the pocket of a lot of popular stuff. It was probably something it's pretty direct in line with like an SCX-10 too.
Yeah.
There's even some crossover compatibility with some things, which is nice for people.
That was smart.
I think it was built in. There's some things that are very close but not exactly cross compatible, which is like it's almost there. But in general, it's just out of the box. Like it's not something that I would tell people is not a good buy.
Yeah.
I enjoy mine.
As far as a simple rig on the market today, it seems to be maybe the best geometry, the least amount of upgrades needed if you just want something box stock to go run. It seems to be one of the better values right now.
It comes with some good parts. It's got just in general, it comes with overdrive. Comes with 2 overdrive options in the box, 6.5 and 11 or 12%.
Yeah, about 12. Yeah.
So that's a nice option. You can actually, that transmission has the same bolt pattern as an Axial SCX-10.
Super nice.
So you can drop that into, I've changed one of the trucks over there, just dropped in an element, because you can buy that transmission separately for about $50.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
No, and it comes with both options for the overdrive, and it comes with 2 top shaft options in case you want to build it, because you can flip it around. Nice. But if you flip around an overdrive transmission, you can end up with overdrive in the wrong end. So you got to pay attention to that, otherwise you'll make mistakes.
Yeah.
But it's just another one of those good suggestions. And then our market's been so popular that we've seen kind of fringe releases.
Yeah, smaller companies.
Or even just different segments of, Yeti Junior, SCX-1024.
That's true, yeah.
Or SCX-24, not SCX-1024. But, the
1024.
The SCX-24, it's like a good Christmas gift, or people who are stuck indoors a good portion of the year. I wouldn't understand because I'm in shorts and it's 70 degrees out here.
Yeah, oh, California. It's terrible out here. It's terrible. You don't want to move here, trust me.
You probably don't.
Yeah. Just being honest.
Yeah, but that's there's that, I think.
But do you really like the smaller rigs?
They're not for me as much.
What about the readers out there? Is that or the watchers? As it may be.
Maybe not my watchers as much, but probably. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of them do. Still, the SCX24 is it's fun on the rocks.
Anything's a challenge, right?
Anything can be. If you don't want to get out of your camp chair, you have some rocks next to you, and you just want to play around.
I don't have one of those at this time. I've never really been a fan of the smaller rigs, the 24th scale and the 18th scale. They're kind of tough to drive if you're wanting to be competitive about it, since they're so small. When they start to get upset, they're
so twitchy,
so fast on the rollovers. But besides that, the parts availability kind of isn't there. The electronics availability kind of isn't there.
Right.
And to me, I like high power type stuff, and that's kind of a turn off for me. Is that I can't put a lot of power to these rigs.
The SCX24 has kind of bucked the trend a little bit with the aftermarket, kind of starting. Remember the micro T's?
Yeah,
Remember how you, those things were fully supported because the mini T had been so popular.
Yep.
And I think that's kind of how the 24 went.
Yeah.
So it's, but again, still not necessarily my favorite zone. And
it's a much smaller market probably for that reason. Maybe most folks just don't like going that small.
And Yeti Junior was something I'm a solid axle snob.
Yeah.
IFS is fun in situations, but I always wanted to grab a solid axle. That was the same reason I liked the Bomber over a Yeti.
Yep. Same here.
Same
here. I've got a couple of Yetis. I never drive them.
The Bomber was one of my all-time favorite vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
The Wraith,
a little bit of a pain to work on.
See,
but they
I got
a lot better
so
than the Wraith.
used to it.
That's true.
If I needed to get to the trans, I'd pop the roof, just peel the roof back.
Yep.
And rather than drop the whole bottom,
oh really?
Just peel the roof.
Okay.
And honestly, I never had to get to the transmission. I
true.
wasn't swapping motors to test. I had one setup that I really liked, and I just ran it.
Yep.
And once you had upgraded axle stuff to big power, that thing was just a beast.
Yeah.
They're such fun rigs.
Yeah, maybe they'll come out with another one. Maybe.
I think that Axial has discontinued all the Yetis because they're, now that Horizon is got that umbrella, they are pushing the Rock Ray and Baja Ray, which understandably,
those seem to be pretty solid platforms.
Yeah, I've got one of each of those, but I don't drive them.
Yeah, I've got a Rock Ray and I never drive it either. Solid axles.
Solid axles. I gotta have it.
Even if I'm going to be bouncing off of rocks, give me a solid axle.
Yeah.
I will deal with the poor handling.
Right. That's all I care
That's the
about.
fun of it, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like the challenge of it.
And it's how can you really say how much flex you have if it's not an axle?
So for the listeners out there, you at least need 180 degrees of articulation on any rig. Just putting that out there.
You should be able to twist it all the way upside down.
All the way.
For best performance.
Like a stick chassis where you don't have the shocks on. Just it's only limited by how much wire you have.
Right. The stick chassis is a term that nobody is going to understand.
Oh, sorry. That's
we used to have clodbuster axles, and you ran a stick between them basically with Heim joints, and it just could swivel. Talk about roll center. You knew exactly where it was. You didn't have to calculate anything.
That's very true. That's very true.
There.
I actually bought one recently. One came up used on whatever Facebook Marketplace, and I couldn't help myself because I sold my original stick chassis. And it's kind of nostalgic for me. Compared to today's rigs, they don't handle very well at all. But it was one of those things. It's like, oh wow, I should have never sold my old one just so I can put it on the shelf and never use it again. It came with one of the old HPI Rubicon bodies.
I'm gonna have so much research to do as far as finding old pictures to put on this video.
Yeah. Oh man, sorry, I created more work for them.
Stick chassis, the whole there was just no loading of a suspension. It was
right. Yeah, there was absolutely no bouncing over an object unless your tires and foams were tuned perfectly.
And then do you remember what the poor man's stick chassis was called?
Oh, the Pimp Cane?
The Pimp Cane.
Yeah, the torsion chassis.
Torsion version of it, which was just an aluminum C-channel that you bolted to the top. And it's just however much it twisted. That was your whole chassis.
You could tune the twist by putting essentially like a arrow shaft on the inside. Is what if they had too much flex, because they would break in pretty fast and you get a lot more flex than you needed, you could put an arrow shaft down the middle that would fit inside that C rail and you'd get a little bit tighter of a spring.
See, I had a stick. I never did the.
I had quite a few torsion chassis as well.
I had the You remember the BMV, the TLT version. It was 2 piano wires.
Yeah.
BMV.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Talking about some old school stuff.
Yeah,
The piano wire chassis. Yeah.
2 parallel wires that ran between them. That was what my first full on attempt at a comp chassis.
Now that, if I remember correctly, that went through the Stampede transmission, right?
You did.
The Stampede transmission
Yes.
kind of hung off those wires.
Yeah, well, there was a plate in the middle, but yeah, it was built for we called them PED transmissions in the day.
Yeah,
In
PED
short, we
trans.
didn't have time to type stamp. So you'd you'd shave the case down because there was so much extra there.
Yeah, cut the ears off.
Yeah, A-arm mounts,
Yep.
and then we had the issues in the early days about being able to just bolt drive shafts to things.
Yeah.
We
We did not have cross pins back then. It was
No.
a set screw on one side of the drive shaft, and
Yeah.
that's it.
it was
Terrible.
yeah. There was drive shafts in general were we were Traxxas drive shafts were the only options that
Yep.
you
Stampede shafts.
could
Pretty
get.
much.
The metal ends. Hopefully, you could get.
Right. You had to get the metal in separately and then cobble them on there with whatever tool because they didn't.
Yeah,
They
it was-
didn't come with a tool to pry them on.
Oh
no,
God,
no, no.
so much work.
Yeah.
The things, and there's just no information.
Right. Of course not. I mean, who's going to collate information? RCCrawler.com. That's
Yes,
who.
that was where all of this started, and that's where John and I had. RC Crawler was that was everything. It's still on there. I'm still the highest poster.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I might be catching up since
Yeah?
you haven't been posting as much lately.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, I'm second. I'm second.
You in
Right
20?
behind
You in 20,000 yet?
yes.
Are you?
Yes.
All right. Well, there's only 2 of us.
Right.
We're about
Man. Talk
21.
about a blast from the past. It's still around though.
It is.
There's a lot of information.
And
that's
a lot of
archived.
information.
Yeah.
And if all else fails with
Yeah, when
with-
Facebook
with-
goes down.
when YouTube
Yep.
tanks all our videos,
That's where we'll be.
we'll be back on RC Crawler.
Or on Facebook, but no telling where on Facebook.
Yeah, it's hard to say. You won't be able to search that either, I'm sure.
No.
But-
no.
Good stuff.
Oh, any other rigs that we didn't cover? Really? I mean, that's pretty much the market.
That's the high levels. There is these other brands like Charisma, which we've got Charisma's got like there's just there are options that are out there that are
There's a lot.
they're in that same price range, and they're just not ones that I would, if you're going to spend the money, like
Aftermarket support. If it's not there.
G-Made with the bomb, and the bomb was the 1.9, the GOM was the 2.2. It's just that they're like, it's like, oh, they're going to come out with an option, and then I had them both, and I built them both, and I just like, I wouldn't spend the money on it when I know I can spend that same money on something that has better engineering, has parts availability.
Parts availability is the big one.
It's just,
That's
if
what
you're going to
keeps
have
me-
one problem area of a truck, you want to be able to have options on fixing it so that is not a problem anymore. Not just a repair,
An upgrade.
but an actual upgrade.
Yeah,
So it's just like
I totally agree.
G-Made, Charisma, MST even, like some decent products, especially in drift. But as far as the crawling stuff goes, the CFX, CFXW, they're nice.
How's the suspension geometry?
It's not something that I've driven the CFX, the little guy. You ever seen that one? It's like a 10-inch wheelbase.
Yeah.
Made for Tamiya bodies. For what those guys are probably after, it's probably fine. But it was never one. It was one of those ones that I just has plastic links. It's like.
I'm glad to see that Axial finally departed from plastic links on everything.
Yeah, and
That's-
they found a
thank
cheaper or a less expensive way to do metal links in a way that was reasonable for them.
Yeah.
But there's the CFXW is like it had some shaft issues for me. It's just like it was something that I knew that I was having these issues, and it was like this is not a platform I'm going to pursue because I know that this is a situation. So
That's what happens when you put big power into your rigs.
I think I was brushed.
Oh, never mind. Sometimes it's just the design of the axle chassis.
But
Well, we should probably end on what the users personally like for their favorite rig right now, and then what we like. What's your favorite build?
VS4-10 Pro.
Yeah. I need to get one. I really need to get one of those. It's one of the last vehicles that I have not gotten in my fleet because I think I'm working up to 50 rigs now, and to me, there's so many rigs. There's so many options right now.
I'm probably around 50, 40-ish. I offload, though.
Yeah, I don't sell anything. I cannot sell, because every time that I do, I sold my stick chassis a decade plus ago. I regretted it. Yeah. Even if I'm never going to use it again, I just regret those sales.
I'm not a very nostalgic person. If I have a picture or video of it, I'm pretty good. Beyond that,
I've got evidence.
I'll build something today, and I'll be done with it, and I'll drive it, and I'm like, all right, well,
I drove it. I'm done.
I can sell this, and I'll build it better the next time.
And I would have a hard time selecting my favorite one right now. If I'm going to just go out and pretty much bash, the TRX4 is a great platform. If I want to hand it off to my my children, that seems to be the most bomb-proof one. But I like a little bit more performance, and so.
What's your favorite under 400? So you can't even buy the fully loaded TRX4s.
Right. I guess it'd be the Element then, because the Element's what, 350 or 360?
Yep. 349.
Yeah. I would say probably the Element Enduro, Sendero, or whatever the name is.
Just keep throwing names at it.
Yeah. That's it's got great geometry out of the box. It's nice and lightweight. Mm-hmm. They did a good job on the axle design. Just all around the package is pretty nice. What else in that price range? The Capra's a kit, so it wouldn't fall into that range quite yet.
Yeah. If I was gonna, mine might be a Wraith 1.9. Just because the style, I like the tube style. I think I liked the whole interior exterior paint. The silver on the inside, painted black on the outside. Yeah. You scratch it, you see the paint.
I like doing that too.
It's a good look. They sent me one. Of course, they sent me black instead of orange.
Right.
How did that happen?
They weren't paying attention. Right. They have never been onto your YouTube channel.
Yeah, exactly. Never heard of me.
That's a good rig too. There's so many good rigs in the market. It's hard to say unless you define what your use is going to be. Yeah. Then it's really, if I'm just going to go out and have fun, the Wraith 1.9 is a great platform. But the Sendero is a little bit more capable.
It's more flexible too. You can turn it into whatever you want.
Yeah.
The Wraith is pretty rigid.
It is. You're kind of stuck with it.
And I might have an opinion of what my favorite is because that's that's my favorite. But I also have 19 other ones I can choose from that I have, that are ready to go. So
what's the takeaway? it's all fun, really.
Just have fun.
You can't go wrong.
Yeah.
As long as you're having fun.
Just have fun. And then be mad on Facebook.
And YouTube.
Yeah. Just be mad everywhere. That's what people should.
Make sure you tell everybody your opinion.
Of course, I do that every day in front of the camera.
All right.
My opinion matters.
It all matters. Everyone's special. Everyone's a special. Wait, I shouldn't have said that word. Sorry.
I'll bleep it.
It sounds like so.
Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it. Like button if you enjoy it. Subscribe if you're not already. Notification bell. HolmesHobbies.com. Holmes Hobbies. Facebook and Instagram and I'll link it all. You can find
YouTube.
it all.
I've got the things.
Yes, all the channels.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thanks, guys.